Students, our chapter is Management of Natural Resources, and this is the last topic of the chapter, an overview of natural resource management. In this chapter, we have studied about natural resources like forest, then air, then water. And we have come to the conclusion that the management of all these natural resources is very essential for the survival of living organisms. But how can we maintain the balance between the natural resources and the nature? That is by the use of sustainable management. So sustainable management of natural resources, it is a very difficult task. Why it is a difficult task? Because if we think about the nature, then the economic condition of the country cannot be made. So in addressing this issue means while talking about this topic, we have to keep one thing in our mind, that the interest of various stakeholders should be considered. Means the preference should not be given only to the forest department or to the industrialist. Means as we talked about the forest stakeholders, and then we studied that there are four stakeholders, that is the local people, then the forest department, then industrialist, and then we talked about the naturalist. So the interest of all the stakeholders should be considered, and if the interest of all the stakeholders is kept in mind, then the sustainable management of these natural resources is possible. So what we have to do, that we have to accept the best interest as the priority. Means which is the best interest of all the stakeholders, or the which stakeholder has best interest, that should be given preference. And after giving the preference, then we can achieve our goal, and the goal is the management of natural resource. But the realization that such selfish goals will lead to a misery. Suppose if we give the more importance to the stakeholders like industrialist, so industrialist is giving much more money to the forest department also, but what is the loss for that? Loss is that these natural resources will not be available to the future generation. So what we have to keep in mind, that the goals should not be selfish, because if the goals are selfish, that will lead to the destruction of our environment. And going beyond laws, rules and regulations, if we keep all these laws, regulations and rules aside, what is necessary, that we all individually and collectively think about the management of natural resources, so that these natural resources can reach to everyone and for all the generations which have to come on the earth's surface. So this is about the management of natural resources. I think being the part of this earth, it is the duty of all individuals, including you, including me, and everyone, to save the natural resources. And how can we contribute in saving the natural resources? By controlling our daily activities also, we can play great role in saving the natural resources. That is by switching off the lights when not in use, but then while going to the market, using the public transport, or by going on foot, and without use this water should be used very judiciously. The water which is used for this cleaning the floor, it can be given to the plants. So by doing all these activities, we can save the environment and we can contribute a lot. So this is all about our today's class. So in now we will come to the conclusion that what you have learned from this chapter. So we have talked about the natural resources like forest, wildlife, water, coal, petroleum. All these are natural resources, and they should be used in sustainable manner, means they should be used judiciously. Then we can reduce pressure on the environment. How can that be reduced? If we remember the 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse and recycle. If we reduce the use of things, then if we use the things again, for example plastic bottles, they can be used in the kitchen for storing the things. And if the plastic and other materials, they are sold for recycling. So by these 3 R's, we can contribute a lot, we can reduce the pressure on the environment. Then management of these forest resources, we should take into account the interest of various stakeholders. हमने सबकी ज़रूरतों का ध्यान रखना है, and by keeping the needs of all the stakeholders, the management of the forest resources should be done. Then the harnessing of water resources by building dams. We have talked about the problems related with the construction of dams. That is, social problem means people, they have to leave their places, and they have to, peasants have to leave their fields. Then economic condition, these buildings, this construction of large buildings for dams, then lot of money is spent, so there is economic pressure also. And environmental implications, we have talked that because of this many water aquatic organisms, what they are being, because of the high temperature, they are dying. So these are the environmental implications. And the forests are also cleared for the construction of dams, that is also causing imbalance in the nature. So for harnessing of water resources by building dams have many problems, and alternative to large dams exist. So these are local specific and may be developed so as to give local people control over their local resources. Means we should allow the local people also to contribute in saving the nature or the natural resource. And in the chapter we have talked about the conservation of Sal forest in West Bengal also, that how the local people contributed in saving this and regrowing the forest. So local people should be involved for controlling and for this overuse of the natural resources, and then for prevention of the deterioration of our natural resources. Next, fossil fuels like coal and petroleum, they will be ultimately exhausted. So because they are non-renewable sources of energy, and they take million of years to be formed, and if we use unjudiciously, unwisely, then what will happen at after few years, there will be no fossil fuels present on the earth. And one more thing, that these fossil fuels while burning, they produce lot of harmful gases, and these gases are unhealthy for the health of human beings also, as well as they are bad for the nature and the environment also. So what is necessary, that the use of these fossil fuels should be done judiciously. So this is about the chapter management of natural resources, and now we will be solving the exercise of this chapter, and for that I will be sending you PDF.